Okay, guys, now we are going to go over our top defense rankings for Week 13 fantasy football. We're going to go in order from least to greatest. And so at number 7 here, I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense versus the New Orleans Saints on Monday night. This is plain and simple, really. Like, Tampa Bay gets after your quarterback. The problem is they don't really force turnovers very much, but New Orleans offense has no identity right now. The New Orleans offense is also very bad about giving away the ball at least once a game. So I think that this matchup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, coming off a loss to the Browns, an upset loss, I do think that they belong in the top 7. The number 6 defensive matchup for Week 13 is the New York Jets defense against the Minnesota Vikings. This simply comes down to a great defense. The Jets defense, one of the best, if not the very best in the entire NFL. I don't care who they play, they are really going to be a force to be reckoned with every single week. Kirk Cousins is also prone to having dud games, so he might have one this week, but Minnesota is coming off a really big primetime win, so they might be hyped up and really ready to go for this upcoming game. So it could be tough for the Jets, but they are on here just because of their greatness on defense. The number 5 matchup for defenses in Week 13 is the Seattle Seahawks defense going up against the Los Angeles Rams. This is simply matchup, man. The matchup versus the Rams offense is fantastic. Don't know if Matt Stafford will be back. Indications early this week are that he will not be back. So we could be seeing another third-string quarterback for the Rams come out again, trot himself out there without Cooper Kupp, without Allen Robinson now. This is a putrid offense. But Seattle's defense was a concern last week for me. They only got 1 sack and they did force 2 interceptions, but that is just not enough and not what we've been used to seeing for the Seattle defense. They've really gotten a lot of turnovers and they haven't in the past 2 games, so I am concerned from that angle. But Seattle's defense has been really good on sacks and turnovers for the most part this year, so I'll write that Week 13, that Week 12 matchup off. The matchup is just too good to leave Seattle out of the top 5. The number 4 defense in Week 13 is going to be Washington. They are going up against the New York Giants, guys. This is really for a couple of different reasons. Washington gets after the quarterback consistently. They still haven't seen Chase Young. I do think that he is supposed to make his debut this week, so that could be a major lift for this Washington defense. That is steadily improving. They are on a win streak now. They're looking better offensively and defensively. That unit on defense is really starting to come together. The DBs are playing very tight coverage and forcing interceptions. That is a very positive sign. The New York Giants are getting figured out lately, guys. Everybody knows who plays the Giants, that Saquon Barkley is that entire offense. And so all of these teams that have been playing them lately have just been very focused in on shutting down Saquon Barkley. They are letting Daniel Jones throw the ball. It has not looked good for Daniel Jones and the Giants the past 2 weeks. And so I think that the Giants are starting to get figured out a little bit. And I do think that Washington here is going to take advantage of this matchup with a weak offense with a weak quarterback. The number 3 defense on this list for Week 13 is Baltimore Ravens defense. They are playing the Denver freaking Broncos, guys. The Ravens defense consistently gets after your quarterback. They force turnovers most weeks as well. And even in a loss to Jacksonville last week, their defense still ended up with 7 points. That is pretty good. That was due to sacks and forced fumbles, which they have been great at this year. That defense is starting to come together even after a bad week. I do not fear this matchup at all because Denver is awful. Jacksonville, the difference between them and Denver is Jacksonville is on an upward trajectory. Denver is the exact opposite on a horrific downward trajectory. Denver's offense is so bad right now. They are really on the level of Houston Texans offense. It is so bad. They are terrible offensively. It's not getting better. The Ravens are going to come in pissed off after a loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are going to beat and batter the Denver Broncos, and they are number 3 defense in Week 13. The number 2 defense in Week 13 is the Cleveland Browns, and it is for the simple fact that they are playing the Houston Texans, guys. This is what you want to target on the waiver wire. A couple of days ago, I made a video of how to prepare for your home stretch in fantasy football. This is one of those things that you do to prepare. A Cleveland Browns defense, widely available in fantasy football. They are not the best defense, but they have the best matchup this week. The Houston Texans are literally a defense. If a defense is playing the Houston Texans, that is the defense that you want to target that week, man. Mostly comes down to Houston being so bad, like I said. They're so bad. They're abysmal. They turn the ball over. It is just miserable watching the Houston Texans play. Cleveland's defense also consistently gets sacks as well. Now, they give up big plays on defense, and that is the one problem here. But the good thing here to counteract with that is that Houston on offense, they struggle to generate big plays. They're going to shut the Texans out, I think. This is going to be the number 2 defensive matchup in Week 13. And the number 1 defensive matchup in Week 13 is the Dallas Cowboys defense versus the Indianapolis Colts, guys. This is simple. Great matchup, excellent defense. It doesn't get better as a combination. This one is just super simple. Dallas's defense, one of the best defenses in the league, if not the very best. They force turnovers, they get after your quarterback. This is all perfect stuff for fantasy football defenses. And on top of that, Indianapolis' offense is so extremely limited. If you learned nothing from Week 12, the one thing I want you to take away from Week 12 is that Indianapolis' offense is so extremely limited. If you are getting stifled by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense for an entire half of football, that is a big, big problem. And they are also good for at least 1 turnover a game, something that the Cowboys are masters at. This is going to be a bloodbath. Dallas's defense is going to win weeks here in Week 13, and that is why they are the number 1 defense in Week 13. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you play fantasy football, and make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more great defenses for the rest of the season, click on this video right here. And if you want to support the channel, click the link in the description.